The New York Times reports that, quote, Trump was frustrated by the Sunday shows today, felt people didn't defend him strongly enough on his Obama claim, per people close to him. So the question is, how do you defend a president who so regularly deals in alternative facts? Joining me now, Anthony Scaramucci, who's been a Trump advisor, a member of his Transition Executive Committee, founder of Skybridge Capital.
I mean, it's great. It's great the way you wrote the script. Okay, keep going.
Okay, let me start with this.
So far, so good.
Tell me this. Yeah. You obviously you were on the transition team. I know you were advisor to the campaign. What's your sort of current status as regards the White House?
Okay, so my current status is I'm in the process of selling my company, and so unfortunately I need a lot of investor consents to do that. Yeah. And as soon as those investor consents come in, then my guess is I'll have a role in the administration.
You'll have a role.
Yeah, that's what Steve and Wrights have said to me, and I take them at their word.
So this claim that the president made, right? You come from a world in finance in which information is at a premium and really important, in some ways regulated, right? You can get in trouble if you pass along certain information, if you trade on insider information. What does it mean when the threshold, the evidentiary threshold of the president is so much lower than what you or I would use?
Oh. Okay, well, let me just say a couple of things. It's just very interesting the way you framed it. I don't know what law school you went to, but they taught you really good at trial advocacy stuff. But here's the facts that I know, and I know the guy a long time, 21 years. I worked with him very closely for the last year. He's got great instincts. He's got great intuition. So much so that he's now the president of the United States. He's 21 months into his political career.
Stipulate all of that.
And 46 or 45 days into his presidency. And so if he's out tweeting that he thinks that there was an issue, and I'm watching all the journalists around the world, the print journalists, the video journalists saying blah, 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 I would look at it a little more carefully, and I would take the guy a little bit more seriously. Now, he hasn't come out and made a public statement about it yet, and I know that Sean issued a couple of tweets about it and said that we're going to wait for more investigation.
Right, but wait a second. So let me
okay.
Because this is important, right?
It's your show.
He's a president of the United States, and you're right? Clearly, extremely talented individual politically. He's become the president starting his career. Yeah. But I want to ask you about Janet Yellen, who's the head of the Federal Reserve. Okay, Janet Yellen had a Twitter feed, and she just said, out of nowhere, "I hear Skybridge Capital up to all sorts of fraudulent stuff," or I think there's hundreds of billions of dollars in bad assets on the balance sheet of Deutsche Bank. What would that do to financial markets?
You could have said ABC Capital. That would have been less hurtful, Chris. Okay.
Well, but no, I'm asking you a serious question. What would that do to financial markets if someone with that authority did something like that?
Well, first of all, those are two very different personalities, and they're sitting in two very different seats. Okay?
But they both have a lot of institutional authority invested in them.
Yes, but what the President of the United States has done a magnificent job of, and I think you'll also give him credit for this, is that he's used his Twitter feed, to help him ascend to the presidency. He's also stepped over the mainstream media to communicate directly to the public on his Twitter feed.
That's fine.
Well, let me finish, because he has a different personality than Janet Yellen, and the country and the people view him very differently.
But that's not the question.
You guys in the media take everything that he's saying very literally. You're analyzing every syllable. You're bringing 200 pundits on to talk about it. And the truth of the matter is, the guy's instincts are usually right. And so let's give him a chance.
Let me rephrase the question
Let's give him a chance then to elucidate the information.
Well, okay, but here's another
Chris, I'm going to back the guy up.
Okay, you can back the guy up, but here, in addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, because you're saying his instincts are normally correct and borne out over time. In addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally. Millions of people voted illegally. Now, you're saying I'm taking this overly literally, but that he then doubled down on this. This is not just a tweet, right? That is not true, and we know that.
Okay, tell me how you know that exactly.
Because every Secretary of State that's conducted any investigation, including John Husted, who's the Ohio Secretary of State, who has been extremely predisposed to find voter fraud, said he found about 50 cases in the entire state of Ohio. New Hampshire, where you have Republicans responding to the claim of Stephen Miller that people were bussed in saying that's ridiculous. Every Secretary of State, Republican and Democrat, says it's not true.
You know what I would love to be talking about with you, though, is like the beautiful rise in the stock market, the wonderful economy, the cut in regulations.
I know that, but
the best job market opportunity in 30 years. This is stuff I'd love to be talking about with you, but we can talk about this if you want. I guess your viewers like this sort of stuff. All I'm saying to you is that the guy is doing a great job. Okay, now he did give his communications.
But you're not going to defend these things on the merits.
Because I don't need to defend these things on the merit. What I want.
If the stock market is high, then it's okay.
No, that's not it. If the president's policies are good policies for the American people, and the policies are going to promulgate jobs and create a more affluent society for the middle class and working class individuals, he's going to win a resounding re-election. This other stuff, which is like background music and background noise to the whole thing, here's what I'm disappointed about, okay? He gave an unbelievable speech, okay, last week, okay? And even you were surprised about it. And there were people on other networks that were falling off their chairs. They couldn't believe how surprised they were about it. But that's the guy that I know.
Okay, but Anthony, that may be true. Look, I'm glad that you. Okay, I'm glad that you.
That's the guy the American public just elected as their president. Okay, and by the way, your economy is going to do a lot better under his leadership.
You're asking me. I'm sitting here. You're saying you guys are focused on this, which okay, fine, yeah. It was the president of the United States with his 20 million Twitter followers who decided to accuse the former president, a man he went to Harvard Law School with and also raised money for and supported, I should note, of doing something wildly illegal.
Let me say this. I like President Obama. I did go to law school with him.
And do you think he's the type of person who would order a wiretap of the president of the United States?
The answer to that question is I have no idea, okay, but here's what I do know. I know the guy that's sitting as the 45th president. He's got really good instincts. You may think he doesn't, but last time I checked, he is the president of the United States off a lot of his instincts.
Final thing on the instincts.
He shifts on the fly.
Final thing on the instincts.
He's a great quarterback. He knows how to call an audible.
Listen, believe me, I hope he has great instincts.
Yeah, he does. You know he does. That's why he's the president.
Well, he has good political instincts, clearly.
He's got great political instincts.
Pursuing the president's
promulgate great policy.
His instinct that the president of the United States, former president of the United States birth certificate was fabricated or wrong.
Okay, now we're going into that now, okay?
You are talking about the man's instincts.
Chris, it's so 2011. Okay, he's already admitted that the guy was born in the United States. Let's move on, okay? I don't understand why we got to go back and litigate something there. If that's good for ratings, that's good for viewers, I get it. But let's talk about the here and now, okay? The guy is doing a very good job. I think the communication could be better, and it's starting to get better.
I'm going to have you back on. We're going to talk all about
policy.
Yes, policy and
deregulation.
Particularly what the connection is between the regulatory state and the stock market.
How about the 8 million
people? You guys are going to do well.
How about the 8 million people that have dropped below the poverty line, Chris? How about that?
In 40 days?
No. In the last 10 years, 8 million people have dropped below the poverty line.
Let's get it back up.
Let's get it back up. Let's create the aspirational middle class.
Okay. Anthony Scaramucci.